Fixing your marriage makes everything worse. This is really probably the biggest mistake that husbands make when trying to fix their marriage, which is measuring their success on how their wife behaves or what she says. Okay? And I started to allude to this earlier. So in other words, when a husband starts to work on himself, actually take action, they right away look at their wife to determine if they are on the right path. And in almost all cases, the wife signals the exact opposite of what they would want to see. No, you are not on the right path, asshole. Like that's the signal back from her. And this happens because, after the slap, trust is low and your wife automatically assumes you are manipulating her back in the relationship, which is accurate in a way. You are manipulating her back, okay? But there's negative manipulation, there's positive manipulation. Negative is when you're the only one benefiting. Positive is when others are benefiting as well, okay? And at this point, she doesn't trust that these changes that she's seeing based on the stuff you're implementing, that they're here for the long term, okay? So what will happen is that she will test these changes that she's seeing. And those tests will make the marriage look like it's getting worse. In other words, it makes it look like you are not on the right path, right? She'll pull out the divorce card. She'll talk about the boyfriend. She'll go out late at night and not call you. She'll push you away and create space and not text you for 2 days. She doesn't say, I love you anymore, whatever. She starts to do things that have you be tested. What would a typical husband do at this point? F this is clearly not working and are only making things worse, when in reality, little it's actually the opposite. Things are going by the book. And here's the thing. This is the most important time to remain on the path. Because when you pass these tests, these rebuild trust the fastest possible way. When you pass her tests consistently, rebuilds trust extremely fast. Okay? So let's look at why all of this happens and kind of what to do about it. All right. So first thing you need to recognize and realize, you trained your wife over the years. Since the beginning of your marriage, you have indirectly trained your wife to react, to behave, to speak a certain way. And as a result, she gotten used to that. You showed up a certain way. You reacted a certain way, which had her get trained to react and behave and speak a certain way, right? In other words, you have become predictable as a result, because she now knows almost always how you're going to react, what you will say, or kind of do in anticipation of her actions and her words. So when she says or does X or Y, she has a very good probability predicting how you're going to react, how you're going to behave, what you're going to do next. And you need to recognize that this is a natural part of marriage when two people get together, and there will be significant influence on each other. So recognize that you have trained her. Okay, so second, you now have to untrain her. Okay, once you have accepted that you have trained her to behave, react, and speak a certain way because of how you showed up over the years, then you can kind of come to this next step, right? Which is how to untrain her. Now, how do you untrain her in the first place, right? How did you train her in the first place? Well, through your actions and behaviors. So how do you untrain her? Well, through your actions and behaviors. This means you need to alter certain behaviors that do not serve the relationship and things that you're not proud of as a man, father, and husband by being responsible for those areas and actually owning them. When you implement these new behaviors over time, you are untraining her from the old behaviors to the new behaviors. Okay? And this comes with this. Your marriage will look worse than before short term. Because in the process of untraining her from the old behaviors to the new ones, she will rebel against it. And this is mainly because she doesn't trust the new version of you that she's experiencing. She thinks you are just manipulating her for your own gain, for your own benefit, and she doesn't believe what she's experiencing is actually going to stay for long term. She believes that your changes are kind of spur of the moment, and as soon as she gives into them, she's afraid you're gonna go back to the old behaviors. Okay. Now, as a result of this thinking and this belief inside her, she will start testing your changes hard. These tests from the outside, when you look from the outside in, like it makes it look like your marriage is getting worse. And if you think about it, what's the only thing that changed? You decided to do something about your marriage. You're going to implement these new behaviors. So now what? My marriage is getting worse? And the only thing that changed is I'm implementing these tools and things that I've been told to do? This doesn't make sense, right? So now you naturally would think that you are causing the marriage to be worse. But no, it's not the case at all. In fact, it's right on track. It's by the book. And it's the exact opposite of that feeling that you're getting. And why? Because you would do the same thing. If your wife all of a sudden changed after years, decades in marriage, and started to demonstrate the behaviors that you've been looking for so long, that the relationship has been needing, you would be like, what's going on? You would want to know why it's happening. You would want to justify that. Okay? So the key becomes consistency and managing your image as a man, father, and husband. Okay? What's required for you to succeed and have her trust you again is consistency. You need to stay consistent in implementing the tools and demonstrating this new version of you. And this is especially important when she's testing you. Because if you stop, what are you doing? Then you are just proving to her that, you know what, this really was a spur of the moment. This was a spur of the moment thing, and the changes are actually not real. I just wanted to please you, and I just wanted to pretend I'm this new guy, but I can see it's not working, so you know what, F it. But when you pass her tests and continue to stay the course, she will have no other option but to just surrender to the fact that this is a new version of you.
Yeah, and it's not even just about she will have no other choice but to surrender to it. She will want to surrender to it. Not like she's going to be backed into a corner. She will want to surrender to it because that new version of you, that's someone that she can actually see herself with going forward. And there's also a reality check that I want to put in here. Like, men are not in the situation that you are in. Man, you're not in that situation because you messed up, over a period of a week. You're in that situation because you've messed up over a long period of time. And I think, that there's a magic wand that just exists and it's going to go and make this all okay overnight. Like, that's just naive. It's a bit like someone who's 100 pounds overweight, but now they're sorry for eating all that fast food, and they didn't eat fast food yesterday. So surely the weight should just fall off. Like, that's not the way this works. But what does work is the consistency. What does work are the tools and the systems. And how do we know? Because we've proven it time and time again.